Bangladesh on Monday woke up to news of one of the deadliest days in the history of this country. Give us a sense of what happened there, and what did you hear from your mother directly, the former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina?
So on that night, when the protesters were marching on the Prime Minister's residence, you had the troops deployed, the military deployed on the outskirts of Dhaka city to stop the violence, but they had all been instructed not to shoot, not to use deadly force against protesters, because my mother did not want the blood of protesters on her hands. There had already been excessive use of force and violence, and she did not want any more killings. Her government never wanted to use force. Her government never authorized the use of force. The violence was incited by some other groups chanting, "We are Rajakars" in the middle of the night at Dhaka University. That's the equivalent of marching in the middle of Jerusalem chanting, "We are Nazis, we are Nazis." That enraged our students, who then attacked the protesters. The police got involved, tried to stop it. Some police members used excessive force. Our government had already formed a judicial committee to investigate those deaths. We had suspended the police officers. We had immediately instructed our student wing, Chhatra League, to refrain from violence, and the violence had stopped. But when they were marching on, and at that point when they were marching, when they announced that they were going to march on the Prime Minister's residence and they wanted the resignation of this government, my mother's, the Prime Minister's Special Security Force and the Prime Minister's guards, they were fully prepared to defend Gangbabu, the Prime Minister's residence. But my mother said, if you do that, hundreds, if not thousands of demonstrators will die. So she did not want them, she did not want bloodshed. So instead they took her to a secure location, and then our Air Force base. At that point, my mother told my aunt, you get on the helicopter, I'm going to stay here. My aunt called me immediately, and I persuaded my mother to leave the country.
So what can you tell us something about that conversation, between a mother and a son, at a situation which had turned so hostile?
The conversation was brief. What I told her is, no, you cannot stay. She said, no, I'm not leaving my country. I said, look, this is a mob now. These aren't protesters. They are armed. They've already been killing police. They've been attacking police with firearms. So, at this point, if they find you, they're going to kill you, and we do not want that. If you don't want your security forces, if you don't want your special security force to defend you and shoot back, then they're going to kill you. You have to leave the country. We have to keep you safe.